So here we go. GM's a pair, Lumina and a Chevrolet Camaro, 70 model. It's almost like the beginning of the return for Pro Mod style Chevrolet Camaros. This body style came out, what, a few years back. And looks wonderful. Here we go. So with that, they'll get Stillwell to go to the bottom light. He's there, lights are down. Uh-oh, problems in the left lane. Stillwell yanks the wheels and he's headed out of town, man. 451.8, 157 in the right lane. And the Chevrolet Camaro just easing its way down there. Hey, 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 the Dancing Bears down there. Nice to see him. Real pro stock, huh? Since all the good ones, here is Kyle Solomon. Port Charlotte, Florida. Yeah, get after it, man. K-Motion sponsored, obviously. Right there on the right side for the 03 Cavalier. Nelson, 632 cubic inches. All right, so Kyle's going to come up here. He's got the little electricity bolts going around the paint job there. I don't know if they're lightning bolts. If so, it's alive. Here we go. Little purge of nitrous oxide. Hey, real pro stock. Get your camera up on your shoulder. Here we are. Got that feeling. So Salmon in, now coming to the top light, ready to go. The Chevrolet Camaro will get ready to roll in ever so gently. He's in there. Nice hit. And that was nice, man. He's got one of those 16-speed road rangers in that thing. 425.4, down there at 165 miles per hour. All right, whoa, hang on to it, man. Landscaper coming out trying to trim the bush right there. J.R. Atkins out of Lakeland, Florida, little Mustang, rolling his way up there, the 93 model, 430 cubic inches of small block Ford right here, racing with the 632 boys. All right, Pro Mod, listen up. Robert Abbott, Craig Sullivan, Jeff Rudolph, Joe Wensley, William Brown III, Jericho Baldoff, Raymond Matos, Billy Banica, Bubba Green, and Bob Glenn. To the lanes, please. All right, so Atkins now will pull the little small block forward into the beams down here on the right side of the racetrack. Brought to you by the fine people. Wow, so he banged the gears left in a higher gear than I think he wanted to then, or the tires just bit up and get a high RPM launch on that thing. But he'll get down there and get it qualified with that run. Good deal for the Ford fans. Once again, let me give a call out for Robert Abbott, Greg Sullivan, Jeff Rudolph, Joe Wensley, William Brown III, Jericho Baldoff, Raymond Matos, Billy Banica, Bubba Green, and Bob Glenn. You should be in the lanes for first round of Pro Mod qualifying, please.
Big thanks to Summit Racing Equipment and Rife Sensors for bringing us Outlaw 632 this weekend. Summit Racing Equipment has been in business for decades, and they are the world's speed shop, having everything you need to stay, show, and be road ready. Get more bang for your buck at summitracing.com, where you can choose from millions of in-stock parts from over 1,500 brand names, parts for racing, street performance, hot rods, customs, trucks, trailers, tools, and more. Shop anytime, anywhere at summitracing.com. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, they're everywhere. It is, of course, Summit Racing Equipment. Rife Sensors by Motion Raceworks, a Motion Raceworks company, builds sensors for electronic components for motorsports. Check them out at motionraceworks.com. You can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. Rife Sensors is going to be here all weekend long, as they typically are at Bradenton Motorsports Park. And a big shout out to both Motion Raceworks and Rife Sensors for sponsoring the Time Slip app. If you haven't already downloaded it, you can go to the App Store. It's the Drag BMP app. Grab it, Apple, Google. Just go to your App Store and you can grab the Time Slip app. Ready?
They're starting up. Pro Mod in the back in the first pair. Turbo Todd, the record setter. You're going to hear a long interview with him later on this weekend. But right now, there he is. He's going to the water box. You're ready to see the quickest car door slammer in history right now. Now, give you a quick update. We saw some messaging. The Snowbird Finals are going to be run tomorrow during Q2. That's Lyle Barnett, Mark Mickey, Scott Lang, and Melanie Salemi. Unfortunately, Melanie and her team decided against making the trip down from New York so that they can come down in a few weeks and get ready for World Series of Pro Mod. So that means we're going to have a bye run tomorrow, but that means that you're going to have Mark Mickey coming up here shortly, Scott Lang, and Lyle Barnett, as they're going to get ready, because tomorrow they're going to run for the trophy to finish up the Snowbirds. Folks, settle back, sit in. It's Thursday night. Where I'm from, they call it Thirsty Thursday. Crack yourself a beverage. We're getting ready to go Pro Mod 2024 kickoff.
It is the Viva Coast Packing Company, Chevrolet Camaro of Jason Lee, and Todd Moyer, the quickest. full-bodied race car in the history of drag racing. Quicker than alcohol funny car has ever gone. Quicker than a Nostalgia Nitro funny car has ever gone. A Nostalgia Top Fuel car has ever gone. Kind of the ultimate science experiment, Al, and they hit it out of the park.
You know, I was going to say, you would know, to bring new language and new experimental to that. What's the weight of this car versus like that funny car?
Well, this car, I mean, I don't know how light it was when they ran the 514,
yeah,
but in race trim, you know, a Nitro funny car weighs, what, 2,500 pounds right in that ballpark? This thing's, I would guess, especially with the added weight that they received after their last couple of performances, is heavier than that.
It's a fishing tackle box. Anyway, they're ready to go. That thing is wicked. I saw him on the way up to the tower here today, and I said, man, Todd, better you than me. That is insane to me, and that's just my opinion. I mean, it's so fast. And we remember back at the Snowbirds when we had that wild run, a car going all over the place, and he even said, this thing's trying to get me.
I don't know if it counts as ironic or not, but Todd Moyer, who is in this quickest door slammer of all time, is sponsored by a golf cart company.
Well, they carry balls too.
There comes Turbo Todd Moyer and Jason Lee, their opening shot of the weekend here in M&M's, I should say, Transmission Pro Modified.
Here we go, beautiful car, by the way. Wow.
And there he goes, 368.5 at 209 for Todd Moyer. Jason Lee goes 390 at 188, and Lee's car came off the starting line with a massive amount of RPM. Sounded like an alcohol funny car almost down there in the two-step. Very high launch RPM for Lee, who was, of course, out of the throttle early, only 188 miles an hour. But for Todd Moyer, 368 at 209.
How much testing have you found out, or have anyone ever let you know if they've got a lot of testing on their new Coastal car?
It's a brand new, that's their NHRA legal car, so it is giving up a lot of performance to some of the other combinations out here in terms of their weight, the blower overdrive and stuff like that, but they're trying to get it sorted out. Jason's a good driver, so he could pick his way through the ranks. He won up the brainer.
Just one, we're getting ready to go to Gainesville with that car. There you go. What better place to do it? And here comes a guy that was the hero just back in the Snowbirds. He's been amazing. You just go a month, a little over a month overdue, and these guys are finding 0.2 or 1/10 of a second.
It's incredible. I mean, it's no other words to say it. When Mickey made his runs, or this car, I should say, made those runs back around the time of the Snowbirds, everybody thought, how much better can it get? And of course, we typically stair-step these performance numbers in drag racing. Somebody goes to 35, someone goes to 33. You don't typically leap multiple tenths of seconds into the unknown. Scott Wildgus out of Springville, Ontario, Canada. The Wildgus family has been spending a lot of time here at Bradenton Motorsports Park as Sienna Wildgus is working her way toward the official beginning of her pro stock career in Gainesville this year.
Pretty cool, huh? I mean, they got the whole racing deal going down there. Remember the Smokey's Garage owner came up and was talking to us about how they're going to go factory experimental. Is that the category?
Yeah, they apparently have about 210 race cars in production right now. One for every class.
Pretty cool. Good people, though, man, coming out of Canada. Springville, Ontario. Scott, a great guy over there. Supercharged entry. And here comes the twin turbocharged Chevrolet Camaro of M&M Transmissions, Mark Mickey.
Mickey's car wearing Hart's turbochargers at this race, which is a change for the team. The car has run well. Early in qualifying today, made a nice pass down in the 360s. Should mention, just for context, quick runs of the day during the testing, we're in the mid to high 60s. Not a lot of low 60s out there in the heat.
Well, Scott shuts the tires off the back end. Air selector. How about Mickey? Wow.
362.8, the speed of 220 miles an hour. So Mickey right off of the blocks here in qualifying session 1 goes to 62.8.
I think that puts him, right there, right above Moyer. So take that, he says, Todd. Try to show me up with those runs in testing.
Yeah. We go from testing into qualifying, and if, one way or the other, qualifying certainly means a little bit more here, and Mickey has drawn first blood.
There we go. Mark Mickey, number 1. They're going to all be chasing him. Here comes Lyle Barnett, I believe. Yes, that's him. Down there on the right side of the racetrack. Out of Robbins, North Carolina, 69 Pro Line Racing. Powered Chevrolet Camaro being the right side. Scott Lang, Charlotte, North Carolina, the ML Motorsports machine. Looking for reverse, kicking it. Probably trying to have a fist fight with the shifter right now. He's got her in there. He's rolling her back. Gently getting the smoke out of there. And Lyle Barnett, you know, everybody, it always seems if this was a Vegas run deal, you'd see the numbers be way up. Where they'd say, hey, you know, get your money on Barnett. But
well, great. He's in a very good car over there. Of course, the Scott Tidwell team. He's coming back full-time at NHRA Pro Mod this year, which is a big deal. And the other big thing we learned about him, over the course of the break was that he was the guy that was going to drive the Top Fuel dragster that Leah Pruitt got out of until Tony Stewart decided it was going to be him to do it. So
that was something else.
Lyle was the guy they had decided on putting in that car.
Isn't it incredible? I mean, how does one say he'll do it? I mean, look at what he's done in every class he's been in.
Everybody was kind of wondering when he went out and got his A-Fuel license in Vegas and then at SEMA in 2022, he had said to me, hey, you know, like there's something in the works here, because they had started talking about this in Brainerd that year. And of course, along the course of time, the plan changed to put Tony Stewart in the race car. But either way, he was their first choice.
That's going to be cool to see.
And Scott Lang out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the AML Motorsports 2018 Camaro.
All right, listen up, Pro Modified, Scott Quisenberry, Brandon Pez, Mike Decker, Robert Cox, Adam Flamholc, Mike Decker Jr., Polo Juiced, Tommy DiApril. Wow, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Good luck, Tommy. Travis Harvey, the Carolina Kid, Louis Quimet, Derek Ward, and Wesley Jones. We need you in the lanes. Pro Mod, first round of qualifying.
And this is a personal invitation. Bob, we need you to the staging lanes. Bob, we're missing you. One of the only cars we're missing out of that last group, Bob Glenn. Need you into the lanes, please. Bob Glenn to the lanes, and we have just called that group of 5. Now, if you've not heard your name yet, Pro Mod Racers, don't panic. Once we get those 10 cars in the lanes, we will then call the remainder of the machines in. Stan Shelton and Kevin Rivenbark coming up now. Shelton, the Cub Lumber Company, and the team car over here on the tower side.
Wow, look at that. Talk about cutting wood, man. How about that? Both cars coming out at the same time.
These cars are both very good runners. Stan Shelton is one of the guys that I kind of put as a top 5 threat for the NHRA series on the right-hand side of the racetrack. And Rivenbark went all the way to the final in Las Vegas last year, got beat by Mike Castellana. But Kevin is a very capable chauffeur, if you will. He has done this a long time in a bunch of different cars, and he's spent a good amount of time in this silver car.
That's a good-looking ride right there, man. We run in North Carolina. Rivenbark's a Mustang, good-looking color combination. It's silver, the black, and the red scallops on that thing. Cub Lumber, Shelton Insurance, and real estate. You do the math, you'll figure out why there's 2 in the same weekend.
So both teams going through the routine. You can see the ice forming on the injectors of both cars, Rivenbark and Shelton. Moisture in the air being super cool there as the alcohol flows through those injector hats.
Well, there's the best part. The crew goes away. It says it's all up to you. Team cars going after it. So Stan Shelton, the owner of both cars, Rivenbark, the team driver, the hired gun. Here we go. What's he going to say to the boss here? So he cuts a light with a 009 or something and heads down for the first round of qualifying. Good run, man. They are bumper to bumper, huh? Look at that. 64.6 for Rivenbark. 64.9 for Shelton. What a drag race. You can obviously see they're using the same parts over there out of that truck.
Well, Lee White and Hank Jackson on those cars down there. Talk about being able to place an identical tune-up into 2 race cars within 3 thousandths, within 1 mile an hour. And incrementally, you look at the way they went down the racetrack, there was just very slight differences. The difference in 60-foot time could have come down to just the staging depth, to be honest. It was down to the 3rd digit. So that is a great, great testament to that team and how good a handle they have on those race cars.
Very cool stuff, man, and it's just starting here on a Thursday night. More Pro Mod coming up here. Robert Abbott. Oh, what a matchup, man. You got the old 68 Chevrolet Camaro taking on the 49 Merc here of Craig Sullivan out of Plainfield, Indiana. Well, one Larry's Jeffers built machine on the right side.
Sullivan was one of the few guys later this afternoon when the clouds rolled in. This track got very, very tight, and there was a lot of very violent tire shake. Craig Sullivan's one of the few cars that actually got down. Now, it was not a mid or low 60 run, but they were able to negotiate that racetrack, which as we go through the weekend, going to be important because obviously not everything we do is going to be at night. Robert Abbott has made as many or more runs down this track than maybe anybody out here. He's a local guy from Bowling Green, Florida.
Absolutely, the Orange Grove farmer from up the street here. Got his big debut in the World Series of Pro Mod. Got invited last year to that. He was all excited.
Back in again this year.
Kind of cool to see a local guy like that who doesn't really travel the whole world, you know, calls this place home, and to get him involved in something like that. And did pretty well, too.
So for Sullivan and his crew chief, Joe O, and the rest of the group over there, the big question is going to be, can they maybe not use this afternoon's data, but can they have a more aggressive tune-up to deal with this racetrack tonight, where the weather conditions are far more favorable than they were at about, I don't know, 4 o'clock this afternoon.
We'll find out if Joe O throws the book at it right here. They're getting in. They're in. Wow. What a good run. 366.4 for Abbott down there at 204 miles per hour. Sullivan comes right behind him, knocking on the door with 3 on the number. It's 369 flat, 208.
Sullivan's car maybe a little softer than they would have wanted through the first 60 feet at 951, and it was turning the tire because it pushed him to the inside. He kept his foot plowed into it, and he made the run at 369, but that is a good testament to the Wade Rich prep job on this racetrack because he used pretty much every available inch of the right lane, and the car remained stuck to the drag strip. So a 369 using the banana-shaped run there in the right-hand lane.
Kosher deal for him and Sullivan and those guys, and we'll see as they bring up the next 2 automobiles to the water box area. Here comes the P2 contracting machine. Look at this thing. Guys, that thing good looking. Kurt Stedding and Todd Tutolo, they got a new car?
Yeah, how about Tutero's car? That thing is a really cool,
stunning,
really cool paintwork on that car. The way they did the front stripe reminds me of a GTO Judge.
That's what I was in the dark here when it was sitting there. I'm like, that's sure.
Kind of yellow or orangey outline on it. Looks cool.
Sure does. So Tutolo and company will back up into the hot rubber laid down on the burnout. Drop him traction and see how he does. Kurt Stedding gets pushed out there and gets ready to knock the earwax out of Tutolo as he passes him on a burnout as he's backing up.
Well, we talk about knocking the earwax out of him, but Todd Tutolo shook that car so hard early this afternoon, physical parts of it came flying off. So he might have had his earwax knocked out there, but his fillings might have left the chat earlier this afternoon because it was about as bad as it got. The rear window looked like it was going to buckle in the thing. So for Stedding, the P2 contracting car on the left-hand side, P2 Contracting, P2 Racing, Tide Drive, YO Motorsports, Robert Abbott, Orange Grove, and P2 Paving. Wheelie bar adjustment being made to the back of Stedding's car, and now it heads forward. Maybe. Still stationary as Tutero's car is just barely creeping ahead.
Oh, looks like
Not sure what his crew guy
he's holding him.
Crew guy is
there he goes.
Okay.
Todd told me, you hear me hit that last hit.
I believe that's actually what it was. As soon as you're right, as soon as Todd winged the motor a little bit, Brad brought him in. So that was a coordinated effort there. Or I should say Brad directed him in at that moment from behind the automobilier.
Well, Brian, here they go. Tutolo, better known as King Tut, many years back. Nice run. 369 over there in the left lane for Stiening. Not bad at all. She brings it down there to 205.79 miles per hour. How did Tutolo do?
Tutolo, a decent run at 373.8, places him 8th. But what we saw there was a 60-foot time that was 9:44 for Stiening. Tutolo was only 7th out behind him, but Steding's car was way better between the 60 and the 330. 200s plus better, actually, getting to that point of the racetrack, and that actually turned into almost a full half a tenth by the time they got to the finish line.
Isn't that something, man? When you do that math and you think,
Joe Wensley and Jeff Rudolph. And we need the remainder of our M&M Transmission Pro Modified racers. If you're in the Pro Mod category and we have not called your name yet, now's the time to come to the staging lanes. Once again, the remainder of the Pro Mod cars, all Pro Mods, to the lanes, please, for qualifying session 1.
well, it's a full go here at the U.S. Street Nationals, brought to you by M&M Transmissions. The fine people who make probably one of the world's greatest transmission for vehicles of such that you're watching right now. The Liberty Gears Michigan-based team of Wensley getting ready. Brooklyn, Michigan. 2017 Chevrolet Camaro with a Hemi on board. The Soma Racing engines, the PTP, and there he is out there in front. Barnhill, the tuner. This guy had so much fun at Wensley. Remember he came up on the snowbirds? He had so much fun. He goes, I can't wait for the next one. I mean, when you see a guy like that enjoying life, man, that's the greatest thing. Especially when you've got 55-gallon drums of money you're just burning.
Right. Makes everything better. Makes everything better.
You're still smiling, right? There's the ghetto sleigh down there, Rudolph, Indianapolis, Indiana. Wow. Wensley had to get out of her. She didn't want any part of it out there around 300 feet. Jeff Rudolph will go down there. 365.2. Man, we've got a great field in the top 7 or 8 in the 60s there. 206 miles per hour.
It's what this is going to be, and you know, this is going to be a great session. Obviously, a bunch of qualifying to do tomorrow and Saturday still, but it is, you know, if history's a guide here, this field will be split by about a tenth of a second, and it will be split probably between, let's call it 58, 59 to 69. That's what it's been. We look at number 1 qualifiers for the last 5 years, 363 in 2019, 362 in 2020, 359 in 21. We had the weird weather in 22, so it went back to 363.5. Whoa. Wow. Jericho Baldo's car was way up on the revs when it started, but to complete my thought, last year with the better conditions, we went back to a 359. So looking back over that history, let's expect the number 1 spot to end up somewhere in the 350s, and the spread for a 32-car field usually is a tenth of a second here.
Very nice, man.
So we have received word. If you want something to eat or drink, there will be a 7:30 last call made at the concession stand. That gives you about 45 minutes to get your bad self down there. But about 45 minutes going to be making that last call for concessions. So grab yourself something to eat or drink as soon as possible.
Well, those guys and gals got a long weekend ahead of them.
William Brown came up this afternoon, gave me a nice sweatshirt. So thank you to William Brown III out of Chesapeake, Virginia, in his beautiful 69 Camaro, which will be a solo, as Jericho Baldoff electing not to make the run. To your point, Al, we heard that thing wing up once or twice and really very slow to idle down.
The air cleaner wing nut probably fell in there and stuck the flap open.
Hate it when that happens. They did the trick. You flipped it over. You flipped the air cleaner lid over, and it dropped the wing nut in there.
Hey, dude, I threw a nickel at a demo derby in an old rocket motor 2-barrel. That thing hung wide open until, I think, who's on the nickel, Jefferson? I think he came out fully like, what in the... Yeah, unreal. This is a beautiful car, though. The paint scheme, very good looking. Well, the guy who races, I think when the last time I knew he's in a trucking company, and also does some promoting. Does his own races back there in the Virginia area. Here we go. Good run. 364.8 at 206 miles per hour for Brown III. He's going to be happy with that run. I don't know if you watched him in testing. Was he running pretty good like that? Or?
Yeah, he was one of the many people that shook the tires in the heat, but that 9:24.60 foot time, that is a very good sign that they have a nice, aggressive, down-low number they can put up there. That 24 puts him in the upper percentage points of this round so far, puts them within 200s of striking distance to number one, but also gives them plenty of work or plenty of information to work off of tomorrow. Raymond Matos, Billy Banica, all remaining Pro Mods to the lanes. All remaining Pro Mods. This is a final call. All remaining Pro Mods to the lanes.
And Raymond Matos with a beautiful smoky burnout, laying it out there, representing Puerto Rico. Is the Matos family. Hails from Puerto Rico and enjoying life right here in the left lane. Keep your eye on him. I've seen him go. I saw him one big national event back in the ADRL days in Rockingham, and the old nitrous-powered CUDA that he once purchased. Banica out of Brandon, Mississippi, I believe. His 68 Chevrolet looks good, man. Another good drag racer.
Banica ran the NHRA Pro Mod Series last year. I believe he may still be an NHRA trim here. And, you know, Raymond Matos made a final round at this race last year. He lost in the final to Ken Curtuccio. Curtuccio won a 365 in that final. Matos won a 367. A car originally built for the Salinas family. Mike Salinas had a brief foray into the Pro Mod world, and he had, I believe, 2 or 3 cars built.
Wow.
This was one of them.
Was he driving?
The other one is owned by a football player that
Fletcher.
that happens to love drag racing.
There you go, Fletcher Cox.
Yep.
Was Salinas going to be the driver, or was
He drove it a couple of times.
Oh, no
he drove
kidding.
the competition a few times, yeah.
Wow. So here we go. Raymond Matos going to the bottom rights. He's in. Banica's in. Look at Matos. That car's got some unbelievable power when it gets out about 150 feet. Hikes the wheels up 369.7 at 204 miles per hour. Banica only musters a 555.4, shutting it off and coasting at 80 miles per hour. Still puts him 13th. I mean, not bad for running out of that 6-second zone. I mean, you got everybody running 60s.
Banica's car was kind of hating life early. He was able to slap pedal it to a 555, but you can look down the racetrack. It had swatted the tire up very shortly off the starting line. He hung with it for, 150 feet or so, whacked the throttle, and managed a 555 out of it at only 88 miles an hour.
So listen up while it's quiet. You only got about 40 minutes if you'd like to get a bite to eat. Concessions will close in 40 minutes. So get some of those wonderful fries, chicken fingers, and all the great food they produce here at the wonderful, where are we at? So 40 minutes, get a bite and a drink, and then they're going to close early due to the long weekend they got ahead of them here in concessions. Wow, is that thing up on it, man? Bubba Green, Taylor, South Carolina.
Pretty high RPM burnout there for Green. Car did struggle to get off the starting line during earlier testing today. I think they got that problem cured. It did not hate the RPM there for sure as he backs his way up now. Screw blower combination in front of a C7 style Corvette for Green, who has gotten his car to a stop. Al mentioned the fact up here that the car does sound a little different at idle. I agree. I don't know if there's something a little less crisp, I guess that we'd say, from some of the other cars we've seen so far. Wheelie bar adjustment been made, and Bubba pulls ahead.
I'm not sure if number 2 went from a triple valve spring to a double, but we're about to find out.
Right. Yeah, we start seeing some comets fly out of the Zoomy pipes, we'll know.
That's how they like it, man. That thing has just got some power there.
It was very soft to 60 feet and then went into kind of a weak tire shake situation. When it came off the starting line, it had a couple of wet pipes on the left-hand side of the engine that did pick up, but I don't think it had the guts it needed when he opened the throttle. But a 981 60-foot time into tire shake for Bubba Green places him right now 13th. Mark Mickey still number 1 with 362 at 220 miles an hour. Brandon Pez, Scott Quisenberry coming up next. Scott from Springfield, Ohio, the 1941 Willys. Of course, Pez, PJS Racing out of Weatherford, Texas, will come up here on the left-hand side.
Must be special water down there. I'm not sure, but that sounded awful high on the RPM too.
Yeah, on the right-hand side, we put some of that water wetter stuff in the water box. That's why the burnouts are being done at 11,000 RPM on that side of the racetrack, apparently. So Brandon Pez, the headhunter. PJS Racing, a longtime supporter of competition here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. They are a full-service race engine building enterprise down there in Texas. Whether you want something on an LS platform, whether you want yourself a nice blown billet Hemi like Brandon Pez has with a screw blower on it, or certainly something more mild, they can handle that as Kimmy Lynn, his wife, brings them into the beams. And Scott Quisenberry, the Scott Brasket-powered 41 Willys, carrying the Batman theme.
Such a cool old car, man. I've seen this thing for many, many years. Oh, look at this. I was looking at the camera work there. It looks like he needs to buff that fender out.
It's a little 80. That was the 80 grit concrete polish job it got on the front fender there.
All right, so we're going back with a flashback of oldies right here. The Willis Coupe and the Corvette. The headhunter, the Jones family, helping out with their crew chief down there. Here we go. Quisenberry finds the stripe first, 369.4 at 202.73 miles per hour in the Willis. And looks to be 372.7. Hit some good mile per hour, though. That being Pez, didn't he? 205.
I think that mile an hour is probably the result of a little bit more wheel speed than they would have wanted. He was way better to 60 feet. But if we look just out past the Christmas tree, I do think Pez's car spun the tire there at the top of the gear, or maybe the bottom of second gear. Goes 253 to the split, and then a 372.7. So early numbers very strong for Pez, but then fell off a little in the middle of the course. Scott Quisenberry, though, nice pull.
Oh, yeah.
A 69 is not safe, I don't believe, by the time we're done with qualifying. But that said, you got a much better shot of being able to grit your way through the next 2 days with a 69 than you do with an 8-second lap, obviously.
Absolutely, and it's nice to do it on a Thursday night. That'll bring up the Decker family. Check that out. Man, was that cool, man. Robert Cox, Carlton, Michigan, the 17 model Chevrolet Camaro. He'll be in the far right lane, and the Deckers roll in. This is Mike Decker III out of Woodstock, Maryland.
The Decker Salvage, of course, team. We need the first 4 pairs of Pro 275. First 4 pairs of Pro 275.
That's right, first 4 pairs. Jason Collins, Brylan Holder, Marcus Burt, Mo Hall, Roger Holder, Mark Woodruff, Eddie Harrison, and Brian McGee to the lanes. Pro 275, these names, come to the lanes, please. Jason Collins, Brian Holder, Marcus Burt, Mo Hall, Roger Holder, Mark Woodruff, Eddie Harrison, and Brian McGee to the lanes for Pro 275.
Robert Cox, the operator of a trucking company out of Carlton, Michigan. And Mike Decker III. We missed Mike Decker and his racing family during the Snowboard Outlaw Nationals. Great to have him back here for U.S. Street Nationals. Oh, man. Decker's car, a big backfire there, put the panel out. Very strange run for Decker's car. Kind of stumbled very early. 964 to 60. It's almost like he breathed on the throttle and it backfired for Robert Cox. Well, he didn't blow any burst panels out, but he only managed a 666.6 down a racetrack. All the 6s. I mean, the 4th one makes it not as bad, right?
Well, usually
the three
we never used to show that 4th
The 3
one.
can get kind of nasty, but
Yeah,
4 6s, hey.
Jimmy Earnhardt's up here kissing his cross.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Unreal. Never know what's going to pop up on you. But anyway, here's Mike Decker Jr. out of Woodstock, Maryland, who's going to get a shot to see if he can outbetter the other team car, Decker Salvage, and the AutoFab race car. Tie drive, of course.
Well,
and
this is the moment where it's like the old man shows you how it's done, right? The kid went out there, had his issues, backfired the car. Now the old man's going to show you.
Woo.
So Adam Flamholc from Cape Coral, Florida, the 1958 Corvette. Of course, Flamholc, a world globe-trotting pro mod figure of note. Works with Dmitry Samorukov on his entry in the NHRA Pro Mod Series. He then goes to Russia. He's part of the Russian drag racing series with Dmitry and others.
Isn't that cool? And you know, Adam's got his family here from Sweden this week. His mom and dad, I believe, are here. Very nice. Welcome to Florida, to Adam's parents, and enjoy the races, man. Quite the son you got there, man.
And the Decker family, as mentioned, you know, they're from the Eastern Seaboard, the Middle Eastern Seaboard. Woodstock, Maryland is home, but these guys are a very constant force in the Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association. That is where they spend the majority of their time, and they are, the Decker family, perennially in the hunt for championships. And really what started out as a very small series, it has grown significantly. There's a lot of good racing in that Northeast Outlaw series.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the champion cars, right, this year? Didn't they win this deal?
These guys are at the top of the sheet.
Yeah, awesome deal. And that vet's brand new to Adam Flamholc over there. That's a new one. I think he got it out west, if I'm not mistaken. That's a good-looking car.
Once again, we've called the first 4 pairs of Pro 275.
First 4 pairs, that's right. We'll get these two out, and I'll give those names out one more time. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Decker at 9:22 short time goes 364.7 at 2:05. They got it all. Flamholc a 4:02.3 at 194, pedaling after a 1:06.7 bone-rattling 60-foot time, but Decker goes to the number 3 spot.
Not bad at all. Adam will be down at 16. We need Jason Collins, Brian Holder, Mo Hall, Marcus Burt, Roger Holder, Mark Woodruff, Brian McGee, and Eddie Harrison. You ought to be in the lanes for Pro 275 in the Radio Outlaw Series. It's the first opening race of 2024 for these guys.
You know, a trend, if we're looking at trends in this round of qualifying so far, the trend has been the strong 60-foot times are surviving the runs. The more aggressive cars are the ones that are getting down the racetrack. We start to see those 950 and 60-foot times as tires shake, but the 920s, 930s, they're making the trip.
That's kind of cool to read the old board up here and see that Tommy DeApril's back at it again out of Port Charlotte, Florida, and he's back with Al Billis tuning the car. Because Billis back, if you go back some years back, helped him out a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
When he was tuning him, and we'll see how it goes. The global emission systems, that would be...
I believe this is Eric Latino's car, so maybe Eric had business commitments this weekend, and DeApril got tapped to drive. And Paulo Juste out of Ontario, Canada. Paulo, a great guy. It's been a while for me to see him in person on the drag strip. Black Betty, his pro-modified car here on the left-hand tower side of the drag strip. Got his U.S. Street Nationals license plate on, which apparently are certified to 290 miles an hour, because I think Moyer had one glued to the front of his car during the week, so that's some good stick 'em.
Awesome deal there, Brian. How about it? Here's Black Betty. Bambalam, getting ready to come up here and do their deal. These are good people right here. And I always say that, I don't really know him personally, but I just know they love what they're doing. He's a gentleman, this guy. A lot of the guys in the pits like associating with him. It's a good deal to have him here. Here we go.
Jim and John Salemi behind the race car looking on. They have worked together for a good long time. Al Billis behind the car of Tommy DeApril. Of course, Al's always the guy in the black hat, except when the world puts a black hat on, he takes his hat off.
Yeah. Wow, Tommy didn't miss any sleep, did he? How about it? 365.6. You remember, just let go of the button and push the throttle. Okay, well, 206 miles per hour, not bad at all to come back and get in the car and go another 7 with your first lap there in qualifying.
The only problem Paulo Juste had was that you cannot steer a Pro Mod car when the front end is 1.5 feet in the air. And Paulo Juste's car left the starting line, picked the front end up, and carried it for as long as he wanted. If it was going in a straight line, it might have carried it all the way to the end. He got, 150, 200 feet out, had to lift as the car had moved to the left-hand side. But Paulo Juste, that thing grabbed hold of the racetrack and just climbed up on the wheelie bars.
All right, so we're going to bring up the next two. Nice looking Chevrolets. Chevrolet Corvette over there in the right. Canada. Luis Clement lighting the hides up.
So Travis Harvey, the Carolina kid out of Burlington, North Carolina, and Louis Ouimet. Ouimet out of Timmins, Canada. Been a while since we've seen Louis down here, at least for me personally, I should say. So it's great to see the Ouimet clan back down with the other Canadian competitors we have seen thus far. Yes, Travis Harvey, if there is any sort of gambling on the starting line, or if you'd like to gamble at home, Travis Harvey would not be the guy to bet against when it comes to reacting to a Christmas tree.
Next one. Brian McGee. We need Brian McGee.
So Harvey getting ready to get in there. His crew guy saying, come on, looking across at Ouimet's car. They're making that final wheelie bar adjustment.
All right, so brand new car, and Harvey, the hired gun down there, and before this weekend's over, I'll get you the name. I read it online, I'll have to look it up. See, we're on the car that hired the Carolina kid to do the driving, man, but he is something else when it comes to dropping the button, believe me. There comes a time when you know it's no longer a fluke, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Some guys say, oh, yeah,
these guys are proven commodity. Harvey goes 3:64.6 at 2:06.927 short time.
And how about that, Lewis? Cruising down there, has to shut it off early with losing traction or something of that nature down there, the number 25 qualifier. So Lewis will come back looking stronger tomorrow, hopefully. But Travis Harvey, man, incredible. His father just had a birthday not too long ago. Happy birthday to Mr. Harvey. This kid is something else, man. So the number 3 qualifier as we go into Thursday night qualifying and Pro Modified, not a bad spot to wake up on Friday morning.
Yeah, right now the quick 16 of what will end up being a 32-car field ranges from 62 to 73, and that is going to be changing pretty rapidly here as we continue through. It would be out of character if we didn't get done with this first session and not have a front half of this field that is all tucked in the 360s.
Once again, Brian McGee, Pro 275. If you're not in the lanes, you need to be there. Brian McGee. To the lanes. Wow. The Pontiac almost did that little powder drift out of the snow coming across that line. The back end started getting out there walking for Derek Ward. Friendship, Maryland. I love this car, man. Someone posted a picture of this on the web the other day ago. I should say the web, Facebook, whatever it be. This 68 is gorgeous. It is so pretty just to look at it up close. And it's a testament to a guy who builds a race car and still has the funds to put on a paint job like that.
So Wesley Jones in the seat of this car that is, of course, owned by the Scruggs family. Jason Scruggs made his own history this week with that ridiculous blast down in the 40s? Yeah, 46 when he and Moyer went on their epic 2-day journey into the unknown. But he was in the Outlaw car. Wesley Jones, this is the car that actually fits our rule set. Let's say this, yeah. Yeah. Looks like Jason standing out in front of the car, bringing Wesley Jones in. Of course, Mitchell standing behind the race car on a radio, communicating with the driver, and Derek Ward of Friendship, Maryland. We talked a lot about Derek Ward during the Snowbirds. Car performed very well. We talked about his old blue Camaro that would just pull those wacko wheel stand riding wheelies for 660 feet. And then we thought, oh, we're not going to see stuff like that again. And lo and behold, Ward spent most of the weekend with the front end of this thing up in the air. So let's see what he does tonight.
Well, here they go, the Poncho coming in the left lane. Whoa, Wesley. Well, Wesley, of course, the cowboy, hangs with that thing. I mean, the tires looked to be almost off the ground in the back, didn't they?
Derek Ward, a 363.2 at 208 miles an hour, goes to the number 2 spot, only 4 thousandths behind Mark Mickey. Of course, Mickey still with that Titanic 220 mile an hour speed has that end of the situation on Big Lock, but Derek Ward almost ran him down.
All right, we need the Pro 275 cars that I call Adam Preston, Charlie Cooper, Chad Opolowski, Bill Lutz. Hey, Bill, nice rig, by the way. Bill Lutz to the lanes. Frank Mushaw to the lanes. Brandon McGee, Otto Schultz, Keith Ray to the lanes, please. Keith Ray, and then we need Eddie Ramirez and Manny Bajinga. Need those cars to the lanes. Adam Preston, Charlie Cooper. Bill Lutz, Chad Opolowski, Brandon McGee, Frank Mushaw, Keith Ray, Otto Schultz, Manny Bajinga, and Eddie Ramirez to the lanes, please.
Eric Gustafson, this is a great sight for sore eyes here, the Coast Packing Company 69 Camaro. We saw Jason Lee in the newer car that is NHRA legal. Gustafson's car, this is the machine he drove to an NMCA championship years ago and was one of the first real true kind of contenders with a Pro Charger on it in this level of drag racing. Eric has been out of the seat for a while, been recovering from a arm situation he had going on, but he's got that all fixed up, but he is very happy to be back in the seat next to Andrew Andrus.